Hello and welcome. In the spirit of my brand new book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, I've been on a quest for truth. What does it actually take to create real, lasting transformation? And here you are on the precipice of something big. I don't think that's a coincidence that we should ignore. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. This is where true growth and transformation happens because sometimes it's about your mindset. You're working on your thoughts and your beliefs. Sometimes it's about connecting deeper with your body. Sometimes it's stepping into success and rewiring yourself for wealth. And sometimes it's a spiritual one. But when the right person says the right thing at the right time and it all clicks, those are the moments that make all the difference. And that is what this summit is here for. You're going to hear from some incredible experts who every single one I personally invited to be here because each of them have made an impact in my life. So listen with an open heart, do what they say, take what resonates, try the practices, get their free gifts, and let this space be the place where you find your next step. My name is Talia Joy. I'm your host. And if you want all the free gifts, the resources, and the only place where you can be entered for prizes, you can join the Insider Circle for free below. All right, without further ado, take a deep breath in. Think about what you are transforming, what you are here for. And let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Jenny. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. How are you doing today, my gorgeous friend?
Hello, I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is going to be such a good conversation. Those of you listening, you can't see Jenny, but she's like, you look like you're in a tropical paradise outside, wind literally through like palm fronds. You're all, glowy and sun-kissed, and you're giving quite the vibe. So I love that. This is going to be such a good conversation. I invited you on here. I feel like the first thing I want to say is how expressed you are, how you encourage us to move and dance and express, and the clothes you wear and how you express yourself. And everything is so fun. I also have had the privilege of meeting you in person, and we got to hang out a bit. And I know how real you are, and you've been through quite the journey as well. So I just really wanted you on here to talk about this, the music, the kundalini, the expression, and in the context of transformation, because you've been going through it too, the way we all have. And so thank you just so much for being part of the summit. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So why don't we just start at the beginning, just a little bit about who you are, if there's anyone that's new to your world, who you are, and some of the work that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jenny Heller. I go by Jenny Penny. That is my handle on all the platforms if you want to find me over there. So I am a trifecta practitioner. I am a past life regressionist. I do kundalini yoga and meditation, neurosomatics. I'm a festival goer, a shuffle dancer, intuitive, all the things, so many different titles. So that's what I do. And my mission is to help women activate their dream girl life through freedom, play, and expression. So I feel like through my own journey the past couple years, it's just become so clear that that is what I'm here to do. And it's like, I know we've all heard this before, like your mess is your message. I feel like when I first met you, Talia, it was like just the start of the crumble. We were just talking about this before we hit record, but it was like everything that I had been building in my life started to feel misaligned. And the kundalini is what helps wake that up within you and start to admit to yourself what doesn't feel aligned in your life. So it was like, I realized that I was living this life that was incongruent with who I wanted to be. And through this whole journey of kundalini and eventually, going through this breaking up with my ex, we were together for 6.5 years, moving down to Orlando in a new environment. It's like I've really come into this new version of myself that feels so true for me, where I really do get to live in full freedom, play, and expression. And that's just my journey, and that's what I'm here to help other women through. Yeah.
I love that. When you say freedom, play, and expression, It sounds like it just comes out of you, rolls off the tongue. You've probably said it often, but that's what it is. When I'm like, the reason I invited you on the show is I could have just said that freedom, play, and expression. Like that is truly your essence, your vibe. Yes, what you put out on social media, but also your true self and your, your fully expressed self is that. So I just love that so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing too a little bit about, how you started to crumble. And maybe before we dive right into it, what did you start to experience as you were going through that? So you're saying like you'd built a life that didn't quite feel like you. What was that like when you were kind of leading up to that?
Yeah, it was so wild because it's like, I'm 33 now, about to turn 34 on Monday next week. So it was like
Happy birthday.
probably, thank you. So it was like, I got to that point where I was 30 and it's like the typical timeline of, oh, you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be buying the house, getting married, having kids, doing all the things. And it was like I was building that life that looked fucking amazing. Can I say the F word?
Of course.
Okay. It
Fucking
looked
yeah.
it looked fucking amazing on paper. I had all the things that I thought I wanted that everyone was telling me I should want. And it was safe in a lot of ways, but it was so misaligned. And in my body, it started to show up physically. Like before I even was doing everything that I'm doing now, I was doing online health and fitness coaching. And this is around the time when I met you too. And I remember talking to you at As She Rises and saying like, I don't want to do fitness coaching anymore. This is feeling out of alignment, but I don't know what I want to do. But I remember around this time, it was like, I started to not be able to sleep. I started to break out in like rashes. My digestion was a mess. It was like physically, my body started to have all of these issues. And then I started feeling so depressed, not being able to hang out with my friends, not having the energy to go commute into New York to see my friends, not having the energy to go to music events, which is like, that's such a big thing for what I love and what makes me me. It was like all these things that really made me me. I just couldn't even like gather the energy up to do anymore. And I feel
Mhm.
like in hindsight, that was really like the beginning of the crumble. It was like when I couldn't show up as myself anymore. It was like something's wrong here. And I knew what it was, but I just wasn't quite willing to look at it yet. You know what I mean? And it's like that's when you start practicing the kundalini. It's like it starts to come up. So, as I started practicing, it was like I realized that when I knew I was going to have to break up with my boyfriend, and that was going to take a lot of grounding work with my root chakra, a lot of throat chakra stuff, being able to express what I needed and try to make things work. At first, like try to make things work, and then when they weren't working, having that conversation with him, I had to open up my throat chakra to express like, this is what I need and why. And if you can't meet me here, it's just a misalignment. You know what I mean? So it was like all these different pieces started showing up over time, and yeah, it was a blend of mind, body, and soul all
Mhm.
coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy when we start to have those realizations. And I know there's always this pocket of time, or at least it's been my experience, where we kind of go, nah, never mind. It's fine.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's years, sometimes it's months or weeks. Something will be misaligned in my business. I all of a sudden become aware of it. And then I kind of find myself not wanting to do it. And then I'm like, just maybe it's just me. I have to refresh. Or, with relationships in the past, it's like, well, just if we get through this hump, or maybe, they
Get
can be more.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But over time, we start to get more and more aware. And it sounds like you're literally describing your Saturn return. You were also 30, which is
Yeah.
like around 27, where you
Yep.
soaked up all this stuff. And I think we're always going through a version of that. We soak up all this stuff, who I should be. And then we get to a point of pivot of like, wait, what of this do I want to stick? Who am I
Mhm.
really? What resonates? What doesn't? And that's so interesting that you were experiencing all those physical symptoms as well, because the body will slow you down if you're not listening or if it's time to listen.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, I mean, even when I met you, you were doing shuffle. And I remember I'm like, we just meet. I'm like, what do you do? And you're like, oh, shuffle, dance. And I was like, oh, cool. What's that? And you're kind of trying to explain or whatever. But then when I saw your social media and your Instagram, I was like, oh, damn. So I'd love to know how shuffle came into your life and maybe even how it changed as you started going through your awakening or, gooing your transformation.
Oh my God. So I've been going to music festivals and shows since like 2012. So I've been doing this for a while, and I always wanted to learn how to shuffle like all throughout my 20s. And then during COVID, everybody had so much time on their hands. So I was like, if I don't learn this now, I'm never learning it. So that was what I did pretty much every day during lockdown, was just go up on my roof in New York City. And I had a couple friends nearby. One of my best friends wanted to learn to shuffle with me, and her brother that I'm really close with would like come up and DJ for us. And that's how it started, which is so cool that like everything that happened with shuffling and everything that I'm doing with kundalini now, it's like it happened because of COVID, which is just so crazy to think about even 6 years later. But yeah, so I started getting into it through like YouTube videos and virtual classes, and then eventually in-person classes. And then I was just like, I knew immediately that I wanted to teach it. You know, when you just know, you're like, this is something that's new to me, and I'm in the beginner kind of like learning phase, but I know I need to teach this. It was like I had such a passion for it, and it was a style of dance that came so naturally to me too. And also, like, I had taken a break from dancing for most of my 20s, so it felt just so good to be back in that
Mm.
space again.
Were you a
Um,
dancer before?
I was. So I danced when I was younger, and then I kind of, throughout my childhood, I always either did like cheer, dance, or gymnastics. And then when I went to college, it just got like super competitive, and it just like I didn't stick with it. And then I honestly kind of just got into like college party mode in my 20s. And, that's kind of eventually how I ended up with shuffling. It's like the music festivals with the partying, and it's like it all, worked out as it was meant to. But um, yeah, so okay, so the next part of that was, how does the shuffle and the kundalini kind of go together? Was that the
Yeah,
other part of that question?
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I remember you and I talking about this probably a couple months after we met, and you were like, I remember you kind of helped me out and like connect the dots with this. It was like awakening your kundalini energy is what helps your shuffling get better, and also and like on the flip side of that too, what makes your shuffling get better is your kundalini awakening. So it's like they both kind of weave together. So that was really cool, because I started making programs that weren't just like, hey, learn this choreo, or like, hey, learn these combos. It was like, let's do a choreo where the music is about opening your heart chakra, and we're doing like really like chest opening movements, you know what I mean? Or like, for example, like confidence, solar plexus, like really doing music that's just like the lyrics are all about like stepping into your confidence, and maybe we throw in some like bad bitch flair to it. You know what I mean? It's like really playing with not just the dance, but also the music and the embodiment in that way, and then also weaving in the chakras and even like the elements, maybe one day we would do a class where the theme was working with water. So I'd choose music that was very fluid, and like our movements would be very flowy and fluid. So it made it so fun. And also I feel like that made it so unique too. Like a lot of shufflers have their own unique style, and I feel like that was my thing that made me stick out for sure when I first started blending the two together.
Absolutely. And to bring in, yeah, that Kundalini because it's doing it anyway. But for those of us that were interested in that or aware of it, it's a
Mhm.
way to really bring in that intention that's so powerful. So you were mentioning about music festivals and music in general and all that, but you've been going to festivals forever. Let's talk about that and how I love to, hear you talk about how it increases our life force energy and just all the positive
Mhm.
experiences you've had. So let's dive into that.
Oh my God. I feel like for me, music festivals are like a portal. Like, I feel like when I first started going to festivals, it was about the partying. But as I've gotten older and grown and matured, it's really a portal. And, especially now weaving this in with my business, it's a portal for freedom, play, and expression. Like everything that I do at festivals makes me feel free, playful, and expressive. It's when you're there, the dancing, whether that's just vibing out, shuffle dancing, doing like flow toys like hula hooping, something like that, um, getting ready with your outfits. That's such a huge piece too. I love the preparation before a festival of planning my outfits out. Like, what am I doing with my outfit, my hair, my makeup? Like, how can I look just like so absurd and so fully expressed and wear like all of my crazy patterns and the glitter and the neon colors, like everything that just makes me feel so me. Um, that's a really fun way that I weave the freedom, play, and expression in. Um, yeah, so it's kind of like a sacred ritual at this point. You know what I mean? So it's so fun. I love it.
Yeah, and it kind of there's something about when we're on this path of growth and awakening and all this, it's like when you get to be fully expressed, like when I hosted my first retreat, I remember even just thinking like, okay, this is how I want to be fully expressed. So I'm putting little like tinsely things in my hair and I'm thinking a little bit creatively, almost like a costume, but not. Or music festivals in the past, I've gone to many like weekend ones where, yeah, as you say, you're planning out your stuff and it's like this it's like vacation you feel like it has to be separate from your everyday life, but there's almost this more express version of you like waiting to come forward that it almost feels like music festivals and these environments reminds you of, so that maybe you can take a little bit of that home with you. Maybe even I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I feel like this is something that I've been weaving into my business even more so lately is like all of these fun outfits. It's like, why do I only wear this when I'm at a music festival?
Hmm.
If it's such a portal for me to tap into freedom, play, expression, creativity, like all these things, why am I only waiting for a special occasion to dress like this? You know what I mean? So, with my membership that I run, I started making all of our live calls. It's like dress to express, I call it. So, it's like come wearing that festival outfit that you love that you haven't worn in like 3 years because you are like, I don't want to repeat the same outfit too soon, right? But you love this outfit and you feel amazing in it. Or like play around with your makeup, like practice some like crazy winged eyeliner with like neon pink colors and try something funky out with your hair. Wear the piece of jewelry that feels like too bold to just wear when you're like going to the food store. Like, you know what I mean? It's like again, it's just like a portal and an invitation for people to start feeling more comfortable being seen in their full expression and authenticity on a daily basis rather than just waiting for like a big event. Yeah.
Hmm. And I think in the big event, it's like, well, everyone else is dressed. It's like Halloween. Everyone else is doing it, so I should,
Mhm.
or I'll blend in, so it's fine. Because we're almost afraid
Mm.
sometimes to be self-expressed. Like, who does she think she is at the grocery store with her bangles and all that?
Right?
But in all reality, aren't those the people that you look at and you're like, tip your sunglasses down? You go, fun. She looks
Yeah.
like she's having a good time, or he looks like he's just, like that. Those are the people that stop you in the store, and you go like, oh, I want to do that. So you kind of
Yeah.
give others permission to do it themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like an inspiration to other people. And it's like people come up to me all the time, whether it's a festival or just like out in my day to day when I do dress up like that. And it feels good to be able to inspire people because then it's like they go home and maybe they'll do it tomorrow and then, keep spreading it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm sure you're kind of touching on it, but there's almost this through line with dancing, music, kundalini, music festivals, that it almost feels like the festival for, people like you. I definitely resonate with that. The festival is like the full expression where the kundalini energy is on board because you're feeling free, you're probably dancing, you're expressed, and it's almost like where it all comes together. Like you can practice kundalini in your kundalini space, and you can practice shuffle dancing or just dancing in the mirror, dancing to music, having fun. But this festival experience almost feels like it brings it all together in a way that just like amplifies it.
It really
do you
does.
I'm sure you feel that through line. Just curious your
Oh
thoughts on.
yeah, absolutely. I feel like even just like feeling your Kundalini energy at festivals. Again, I only started getting into Kundalini a few years ago, so when I was younger, I didn't really understand this, but I've had so many experiences over the past few years where I feel it's like you feel the bass from the music. Like I'm pointing to my throat right now because I'm thinking of one specific experience that I had where it's like I literally felt the bass music like vibrating in my throat and
Mm.
like breaking up all this gunk in my throat. And this was right before I broke up with my ex. And it was such a healing moment for me where it's like I felt my kundalini rising in this moment, and I felt the base really dispersing and dissolving all this gunk, like the last pieces that needed to be dissolved before I had this conversation with him. And it's like it was just so beautiful. Like it literally brings you to tears in the moment, you know. It's so special. And I feel so grateful that I get to have these experiences now, and that just my festival experiences overall have evolved so much, you know, because of Kundalini.
Yeah, that's beautiful, especially the throat. And,
Hmm.
we find that we go through cycles of almost purging, releasing, witnessing so that we can do the brave thing, whether it feels like a bad thing, a challenging thing, or a really good, scary thing that you're going after. And so it's really beautiful. And I can totally feel that. Like those festival moments, you just feel free. You feel, as you said, like the bass, the music's running through you. And it's like your bills don't matter. Who you are at home, what your mom thinks of you, your whatever wound, like nothing seems to matter in that moment. And I'm
Yeah.
curious for anyone who's really feeling this, but maybe even hasn't put the words to it, the way that you said you've gone to festivals forever, but you didn't really look at it this way. For anyone now, for their next concert, for their next festival, like what words do you have for them and just something, how to really integrate this and get more out of it?
Oh my God. I feel like what's really helpful for me is like there's so much going on at festivals. Obviously, it's like there's the music. There's so many people around you having conversations, singing. There's lasers. It's like you're like overwhelmed by a lot of the things going on. So something that I like to do is just close my eyes and like put my hand on my heart and maybe like my belly and just like ground in for a hot sec. And it's like no one's gonna think this is weird because there's probably 15 other people nearby doing the same thing, to be honest. So it's like just take a moment to like take it all in, close your eyes, and just really be present in your body and feel. Just because again, it can be very overstimulating if you're just focusing on what you see and hear and kind of being like bombarded with all of your senses. So just kind of like getting into your body. Um, and just like taking a few deep breaths. I feel like this has been so powerful for me to just stay in the present moment and tap in.
Absolutely, because I was thinking about that. I personally am more of an introvert. I'm also highly sensitive, empath, all the things.
Mhm.
And it can be overwhelming, but it seems to depend on my mind or the type of mushrooms I took. No, but I do notice sometimes, like if I start focusing on the overwhelm, if I start focusing on I feel trapped in this moment, or there's too many people around. Of course, that can spiral. But the times when I'm not thinking about that and I'm like dancing on the grass or just hanging out with friends, it really is that. So I love that you're giving those, even just like, yes, sometimes it can get overwhelming. Take a breath and reorient to maybe, the joy of the moment, the present moment, why you're really there. Cause it can be a bit overwhelming, but there's such a beautiful experience as you learn to just center yourself and then experience it
Totally.
from a different place.
Yeah, and I've even started doing this before festivals because within my experience, it's like if I don't take time before the festival weekend to ground myself and set intentions for the weekend, I know myself at
Mhm.
this point. I'm going to go in feeling kind of chaotic, and then the weekend feels chaotic. My recovery takes longer. So I actually just did this Friday before because I went to a festival this past weekend. So Friday morning, I ran a class in my membership that was all about grounding your energy before a festival weekend and setting your intentions for the whole weekend and after. So it was like a full Kundalini class, all root chakra focused. And then I did a future casting theta meditation, just setting intentions about like getting enough sleep, hydrating yourself, eating enough food and like proper foods to fuel you for the weekend, and then weaving in like again the freedom, play, and expression of getting ready and how that feels, and then being at the festival and what it feels like being around your friends and connecting with people, feeling the music and the recovery after. I feel like that's just another really great practice that I've started sharing with my community lately too, because it's so powerful for me, is just really taking that time to prepare
Mhm.
before, um, prepare for the weekend and the recovery after.
Yeah, and that I mean, it's putting intention into it, which how many things do we do? And even people in this community, we're putting intention behind things all the time. But like a big weekend, you're with friends, like it's very easy to not think about that being a time to set an intention. And because we just kind of think it's going to be so fun. Oh my gosh, oh, I hope this doesn't
Mhm.
happen. I can't wait for that. And we just
Yeah.
kind of go into it, and so I really appreciate that. And as you said, the recovery for me, it's definitely an energetic recovery when I've been around a lot of people and the loud music. And even like you said, the things you feel, the things you experience,
Yeah.
your throat opening, all these things. Sometimes
Yeah.
you need a day or two before going back into work or whatever.
Oh,
What are some of
yeah.
those things you do after?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an integration process
Mm.
for sure, you know? It's like again, as I've grown older and evolved, it's like I know that the day after the festival, I need to take a day off from work, just to take care of my body, to integrate anything that came up. And sometimes, even the day after that, I still need a little bit of time. But I've noticed that when I do ground before, set the intentions before, my recovery is a day or two instead of it being like a week, honestly, like it used to be. It
Mm.
was kind of crazy before I started doing these practices. It was just kind of ridiculous how long it would take. And I'm like, I don't have time to have like a freaking week long recovery anymore. Like, we're out here creating our dream girl life. We don't have time to be like hungover for a freaking week. So it's been a very, very helpful tool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, there's like a substance or alcohol or whatever hangover. There's energetic hangovers. There's lots of
Yeah,
layers, emotional, spiritual
totally.
hangovers. Like there's a lot going on. Oh,
Yeah.
I just appreciate that so much. It's so fun. It makes me want to like go to a festival really soon and, and use it as this portal and this experience.
Yeah.
So one other thing that I really wanted to ask you too is you talk a lot, you've already mentioned a few times about dream girl life vision. What does that mean to you? I'd love to hear a little bit about that because that's what we're going through, right? This transformation. So, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so when I say dream girl life vision, what I'm talking about is like your core values and your truths. Which again, this is something that I started getting clear on during As She Rises, of course. So when I say my truths, it's like what's true for me, and like no matter what other people say, what my parents told me, what society told me, my teachers, anybody tried to get me to be who to be, or like told me what I should do in my life or enjoy. It's like peeling all that back. What makes me the most me and what makes me happy and feel bliss? So this took a little bit of time for me to get clear on personally, but it's like I've narrowed it down to three things for myself. And this is going to be different for everybody, but for me, my truths are giving and receiving deep love. And that doesn't just mean with a partner, but like family, friends, pets, clients, like just being able to give and receive that love back and forth. When I don't have that outlet to give or I'm not receiving it, I feel awful in my body, in my life. It just feels totally incongruent. So that's something that is a truth for me, is being able to give and receive love openly. And then another thing is immersing myself in music through movement. So that has shown up for me in every phase of my life in different ways. Like I said earlier, I've practiced like dance, cheerleading, gymnastics throughout different phases of my childhood. And then in my 20s, it started to be like music festivals. And then I started getting into shuffle dancing a little bit older. It's like the way that it shows up has adjusted, but it's been that consistent
Mhm.
piece where it's like I need to be moving my body to music, right? So that's my second. And my third is being in the sunshine and near the water. So like, hello, I moved to Orlando because I was like, I can't be living in freaking New Jersey anymore because I'm going crazy in this environment. I'm like so much more myself when I'm in this environment. And it's like instead of waiting for a vacation a couple times a year, it's like, no, I can do this and live this every day if I choose it. So it's like these are for me my truths, my core values. So when I say dream girl life vision, it's building your life around these needs, these desires, these things that are so true for you that no matter what anybody else says, they're always going to remain true. Right. And again, like I said, it can be different. Obviously, everyone's will be different. But yeah, that's something that I really help my clients through, is just getting clear on what that actually means for them. Because, again, it's like our parents, society, teachers, we're kind of like molded into this different version of ourselves to fit in. And it's like when we start to peel those layers back, with kundalini and other tools and practices, it's like we really get to come into who we actually are and start building a life that feels aligned.
I love that. Yeah, you're so right. And it's so true that it does come back to fueling like who you really are. And when we hear dream life or dream girl or dream this, we think perfection and they've the six pack abs and the however many K months and all the fancy things. But you're talking core values. You're talking
Yeah.
your dream life, you being your dream self in that way.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like another thing I say is like your inner lush life vision, because
Mm,
it's not like about the external, like you said, the six pack abs or like being on the yacht or like whatever, like having the car. It's not about those things. It's like what inside of me feels good that I need
mm.
to feel my best. You know what I mean?
I love that. I'm going to be percolating on that. That's beautiful. Because it is, and it might be a yacht for someone, but as you're saying, that inner feeling of enjoying yourself. And I think of this, the words that come through is like pleasure, and I'll talk about that on the show and stuff. Pleasure in our life. There's a chapter in my book, actually, The Pleasure Portal, because that's where we find that portal of, as you're saying, expression, but also like life force energy, mojo, creativity, inspiration, intuition. It's like this wellspring when we tap into feeling really fucking good. And it sounds
Yeah.
like for you, festivals and dance and music is this place that creates that portal for you.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. This just kind of made me think of something else too. It's like yeah, I want the yachts too. I want that also, but it's like if I don't feel amazing in my body and I'm not feeling free and playful and expressive and happy and blissful, I'm not going to have fun on the yacht because I'm going to be too worried about what's not going right in my life, like all these things that feel incongruent. I'm going to be worried about like what I look like whatever the fuck it is, you know? It's like it has to start with what's on the inside so that when you go out and live your life, does that make sense?
Mm, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Inner lush life. I love that. I was just thinking like
Yeah.
inner yacht. Like you just
Yeah.
feel that inner lush life. And then whatever gets expressed from that is it's almost like it's more juicy or meaningful or aligned, right? Because we're doing it inside first.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And I'd love to hear your thoughts too. Anyone that maybe isn't going to a festival soon or whatever. I know that music piece really resonates with a lot of people. So I'd just love to hear your take on that and, how music helps you to access that feeling, but also feel good in our body. Because a lot of us are going through this transformation and getting out of the head and dropping into the body. So even if we're not going to a festival in the next few weeks or months, how can we, what are your words around that, bringing music into our life for that anyway?
I mean, even if you're not going to a live event, like just listening to music at home, I have music on as much as I can. I mean, I try to also have moments of silence to let my mind be clear, of course, but it's like when I'm going on my walks, it's like I'm picking music that's really high vibe, that makes me feel uplifted and energized. Um, and also choosing, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Healing House before. This artist Lincoln Jesser, he's amazing. He like weaves healing frequencies into his music,
Mm.
which is really cool. And then also he weaves in kundalini mantras. And it's
Mm.
house music. So it's like something you would hear at a festival, but it's also super healing. So, it's like you don't have to do this just at a live event. You can listen to this at home. So it's just being really, really mindful of what type of music you're listening to. Because like for me, I don't know, like there's like certain kinds of music, just the lyrics or like, I don't know, just like the message, it's just not high vibe to me. I'm not gonna like say a specific artist or anything like that, but you know what I mean. It's like certain vibes of music just aren't really high vibes. So it's like you have the choice to choose music that's gonna make you feel amazing. So it's like choose that music.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like inner festival. We're talking about all this inner
Yeah.
stuff, right? It's like have a festival moment every day or the days that that emotion's accessible to you, because I totally, and I think of me as you're talking about all this stuff, I picture like my arms up, I'm dancing to something like eyes closed, just like really enjoying the time. And as we're talking about creating that at home too, allowing that music to move through you, allowing that kundalini energy to move through you. It's so powerful. And I appreciate the fact that you live and embody this. So cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
And you've practiced kundalini for like a crazy amount of days and
Oh my God, yeah.
weeks and months and years, haven't you?
I have. I don't even know. I'm on like 800, probably like close to 850 days in a row at this point, which is so wild.
That is wild because I
Yeah.
remember when I found you, you had done, or when I found you, when we met, you had just done the 22-day thing, and it
Yes.
had been a little bit after that or something.
So that was what, like fall 2023 that we met. So yeah, since December 29th, 2023, I've practiced every single day.
Wow. And for
Yeah.
anyone listening, what we're talking about, the 22-day and As She Rises, that's through Casey Villard, who's also a guest in week 3. And that's where we met at her live event. So yeah, that's really cool. Wow. And how has Kundalini changed your life in this expression and the fun and the freedom and all that?
I honestly, I give it the credit for everything. If I didn't practice Kundalini, there's no way I would have been able to make these moves that I did. Um, I
Mm.
wouldn't have been able to be honest with myself about what I wanted. I wouldn't have been able to have the conversations that had to happen to get myself down here. Um, just being able to ground myself through all the fears. Also, just like the community of working with Casey and being around other people practicing Kundalini, having that support. It's like I owe everything to Kundalini. I'm so grateful for it.
Mm. Yeah. So powerful. And it's one of those things that finds you when you're ready
Yeah,
and will keep knocking if you don't answer right away, which is
yeah,
fine.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, this has been so good. And is there anything else you want to say? Is there anything left unsaid when it comes to anything we've been talking about today and festivals and life force energy and, transformation in general?
I think I think just one thing I want to say about practicing for me for 800 whatever days, it's like you don't have to sit down and do a 90-minute, 60-minute practice every day to see big changes. It can be a minute long. Like, don't feel overwhelmed to start this practice because you feel like you have to do this huge commitment. You can start with 2 minutes a day, every other day, or like a few times a week. Just start and um, just like planting those seeds is what's going to start making things change over time. So I cannot stress enough. Kundalini is the most amazing thing I've ever integrated into my life and my spiritual practice. So just start small.
Mm, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because some of the Kundalini practices are intimidating. Maybe it's only
Yeah,
me, but I'm like, my arms, my mind, and it can be so good for that because it can bring you to
yeah.
those edges. But not all practices are super intense, as you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, like even now today, like sometimes my practices are an hour, sometimes are 2 minutes. It's not
Mhm.
like I practice like the same amount of time every day. It's just the whole point is that I show up for myself every single day and give myself a couple minutes a day at least.
I love that.
When you start doing that on the mat, that shows up in every other area of your life as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And any last words for anyone going to a festival soon and this summer to really use it as a portal?
Oh my God. Well, I'm going to be, how I mentioned that I taught that class on Friday about grounding and setting
Mhm.
intentions. I'm actually going to be making that into a freebie. So if you do want to check that out before you go to your next festival, just go to my Instagram and I'm going to have that in my link in my bio. I'm going to get that set up within the next couple of days. So yeah, you're welcome to check out that freebie. I highly recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. That's awesome. Oh, Jenny, this has been such an awesome conversation. And I know that you're offering a free gift, which is a month free inside your Cosmic Wellspring membership. Tell us about that.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. So Cosmic Wellspring membership is for the women who are ready to just step into their authenticity and just like take ownership of their life. So what's inside of there is different Kundalini Kriyas that you can practice, like a full library. There's different full-length classes. There's Kundalini moon ceremonies. There's also like really hands-on tangible tools and rituals that I've been adding in recently. There's some live calls going on. So it's a really great space to dedicate yourself and commit to this practice. And again, like I said, it doesn't have to be every single day, but just to get yourself into the routine of practicing because just showing up consistently over time It's like that's what allows you to have these death and rebirth cycles on repeat. You know, if you just pop into a membership and practice like a couple times and then stop doing the membership, it's like that's not really going to have that big of an effect. It's really that devotion over time, the consistent death and rebirth cycles on repeat. So this is a portal for you to step into that. And again, it's a month for free, so join in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's so generous. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I'll put the link for that below if you're part of the Insider Circle. It's already in your inbox. And you also have a prize that you are offering, which one person from the Insider Circle is going to win 3 months inside the
Yeah.
membership.
Yeah.
Holy
So
moly. So you can really practice. And then once you have 3 months under your belt, first of all, of Jenny's energy, but also of Kundalini, you're going to be a completely different person.
seriously, it's so wild to think about how much can change in a
Oh,
couple weeks, a month, and then 3 months. It's like you don't even recognize yourself after a few months.
yeah. And a lot of us have already felt that before where we've gone walking and we've now felt 3 weeks of or 3 months of walking or meditating or writing, right? But when you think of Kundalini, that activation, it's just going to be so powerful. So lucky winners in there for 3 months, and everyone else, we can grab a month free. That's so generous. Thank you so much for this whole conversation. It's been amazing.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I loved it.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Transformation Summit. Make sure to take what this guest said, implement it into your life, check the show notes for their gift and to follow along on the journey, and make sure to tune in to the next guest episode. Namaste.